with Mark Haan. Mark Haan, everybody!
Welcome to Inebriated Insights, everybody. I'm your host, Mark Haan. Joining me, two very talented comedians, Christine Tarbet and Dave Stratton, and hopefully later, Tommy Bechtold. Dave, Christine, how are you guys?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm going to get the first vaccine shot tomorrow, so that should be pretty exciting.
We can
I
hang out.
am also well. Thank you for asking.
Also, okay. So yeah, we're waiting for Tommy Bechtold. He's gonna be coming on. He says once he gets off the phone with his cable provider here, then he's.
You can say who it is. It's Spectrum.
It's Spectrum.
It's a monopoly. Everybody has Spectrum.
I know it isn't. I know because I actually look at the internet quite often to see is there another internet provider that I could use. There's not.
It's Time Warner. It's Warner. It's Warner Brothers. Time Warner Cable, Charter, Spectrum. It's all the same thing. So,
right.
It's all a big conspiracy.
Yeah. Huge conspiracy.
Our drinking word for tonight is immigrants.
Immigrants. That's what we're going on. Immigrants.
To immigrants, we're gonna drink on.
We're gonna drink to immigrants, huh? And I'm drinking.
The first question.
Okay, here we go. We gotta drink. We gotta start this up right?
Yeah.
Dave's drink disappears into his background, and now there goes his hand.
Into McConnell. Dave's hand is inside of McConnell right now.
Oh God, that would be the worst thing ever.
Cheers to that.
Just the worst thing absolutely ever.
Oh, it's probably all slimy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Let's see here.
A large influx of immigrants crossing the Mexican border has overwhelmed facilities and is being seized on by Republicans as a potential wedge issue. So far, in response to this influx, the Biden administration has turned detention centers into rapid processing centers for families with young children, relaxed shelter capacity rules, and used FEMA to deploy hundreds of backup border agents to help with COVID testing and quarantining. There are also potential plans to start temporarily putting families in hotels in Texas and Arizona. This comes in the same week Democrats plan to vote on a pathway to citizenship in the House. Christine, what more can the Biden administration do to help alleviate the strain on their immigration system? And do you think running on immigration is a good strategy for Republicans in the midterms?
Glad you asked me that. Mm-hmm. So basically, what's happening at the border right now is it's actually an influx of a larger number of minors, unaccompanied minors, and that's really where the problem is coming up. Because Trump's Title 42 is actually still in place right now, so a lot of migrants are still getting sort of expelled with minimal processing, but they stopped doing that with unaccompanied minors. And so that's where we're getting like sort of a large stopgap, I guess, of what's going on. And I think, deploying FEMA and doing that, and I guess I really don't know what the policy should be because I'm an unemployed actor and not an immigration policy expert. And I'm barely an unemployed actor. And, but I think, expediency and safety is the number one thing. We're the ones who cause a lot of these problems with, the gangs in Guatemala and El Salvador and our policies there, as well as I have to say, I always think that are just absolute love of cocaine and other illegal drugs and really helps the cartels too. And so I think, it is our responsibility, I think, to help these people who are seeking asylum. It's not a great time. And a lot of them are just going to get turned right back around just because of COVID and everything. But I am glad, of course, and I'm hoping that they'll start making sure the facilities are way better. I know Joe Biden wants it to be better, or at least says he wants it to be better than 2014. One thing to keep in mind is that, immigration is like at our highest in the first 2 months in the year 2000. Oh,
Immigration.
yay! In the same 2-month period, 400,000 people were captured, or whatever they call it. And in this same time period, it's 180,000. So it isn't like we have some sort of crazy amounts. And in fact, the interesting thing is that I read that Trump's immigration policies actually made illegal immigration.
Immigration.
Sorry, I pause. Go up, with smugglers and things like that. And we saw, like in San Diego, I mean, I didn't read to see if this is true, but I assume that giant 25 person in the SUV crash was a coyote, right? I don't know. Was it?
He was trying to go through
I mean, that's
a rock that had a cave painted on the rock.
Wow.
Yeah. So like that's the stuff you don't want to happen. You want to be able to track people if you're really interested. Now, of course, the Republicans, they got a bunch of dum-dums that listen to them and they'll believe anything that they say. So they know it's not true. We don't have open borders. It's really hard to immigrate here and be an immigrant. But they'll use it. And the xenophobia and the racism and all of that. They love it. It's an easy thing to play with.
It's catnip, as one Democratic strategist put it.
Oh, that's actually a really good way of putting it. Yeah. So I mean, it's like the easiest thing to use for the people that follow Republicans. So why wouldn't they run on that? Open borders. We don't have open borders. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's actually, we're following right now most of what was already in place with Trump.
Yeah. What's the catnip phrase that you were talking about there?
Oh, so talking about immigration and being xenophobic about it is like catnip for the Republican base, is what a Democratic strategist said about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, and also cats like catnip.
That is true. They do like it for some reason.
They are into it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my cat used to steal peppermint tea bags because peppermint is actually related to catnip. So.
Oh, really?
Just a little tidbit about my life, we always hear about Jake's life.
Whoa. Well, that's the end of Christine there. She got really angry.
I got angry.
You get so angry.
This is the same lamp I broke the other time too.
I remember that. And then the light fell over too.
No, I'm good.
I was just going to say that the whole immigration thing, it's like the most difficult, it's not the most difficult. It's a very difficult problem that the Democrats and Biden are facing right now, because there's no easy answer, and it's one of those answers just
complex.
It's gonna be wrong. At some point, it's just gonna be wrong. We're not gonna make everybody happy. We're gonna have to turn people away. There's going to be people who say oh, well, we should let more people in. There's other people who say we should let less people in. What we should be doing is realizing that a lot of these people coming in here, they're not gangs. They're not bad, terrible people that Trump and the Republicans were painting them to be. They are families who are trying to escape murders and gangs and people who are awful trying to take away their heads off their shoulders. And so these people need asylum. They need a place to go where they won't get, decapitated.
Yeah, and then they end up in Texas, which is that better? I don't know.
Not much.
What upsets me about the coverage of it from both the right and the left in the mainstream media is just Biden just got there.
Yeah.
He just got there. And this is something that's been broken for years.
Mm-hmm.
They're working as fast as they can, and they're going to need things passed in Congress to really create a humane immigration system that's sustainable. And so it's going to take longer than 2 months.
Yeah, I was why hasn't he done anything yet?
But it shouldn't. I mean,
Biden hasn't done anything yet.
He hasn't done anything.
Look at these guys. I mean, he just administered 100 million vaccines for everybody and passed the largest stimulus bill in our history. About whatever. Why hasn't he done anything about immigration? Oh, there it is. I forgot. I'm going to be short beers by the time I come around to my segment there. So
Hit those Coronas, Dave, because
yep.
they're about to be relevant because we're gonna move on to your segment. Are
Oh
you ready?
boy, here we go. We're gonna hit the old thing here. All right, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I'm gonna cover this the way that I think reporters should cover
Oh,
it.
okay, or just
Not
how
crazy.
I want you to cover it. So,
This is how I wish like the Washington Post and the New York Times would write about it.
mm-hmm.
This week, a 21-year-old white man went on a killing spree at a string of Atlanta area spas, killing 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian American women. In a very strange Ted Bundy-esque explanation, the murderer Robert Long said that he had a sex addiction and was trying to eliminate the sources of temptation. Local police said that the attacks, quote, did not appear to be, unquote, motivated by race, and Captain Jay Baker faced backlash after he said Long was having a, quote, really bad day, unquote. A photo on Facebook posted by Baker shows him wearing a racist shirt written in the font of the Corona beer brand saying COVID-19, imported virus from China, with the caption, love my shirt, get yours while they last. Dave, there has been a huge increase in hate crimes against Asian Americans, which this one clearly is, during the COVID-19 epidemic. What can we all do to end this senseless violence?
That is a huge question. And before I answer this question, we're gonna get Tommy on here.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, Tommy?
Much better now.
Oh wow.
I can see and hear you guys. That's
Yeah.
great.
Are you in New York or are you back in LA?
I'm not. I'm back in LA.
Oh wow.
Baby.
Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Great to be back.
Yeah.
Great to be back.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I just had my question read to me, but I want to forego answering that just to. I mean, it's been a very long time since I've seen your face. You got a very nice beard going there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, our drinking word for tonight is immigrants, and you're about a beer shy of everybody else, but
I'm gonna be vape penning.
no
tonight.
problem. That's
All right.
just as fun.
Yeah.
But so you want to just go ahead and summarize your paragraph of a question there, Mark, for Tommy?
Well, we're talking about violence against Asian American women in the aftermath of the Atlanta area spa murders.
And then
And so we're discussing, and Dave is about to explain what we could potentially do to end this type of violence.
and I think that is if I had the answer to that, I would win the Nobel Prize for the next 10 years. I mean, that is a very complex subject and question, but I think we need to first realize that America has a white supremacy problem, and that's the first step right there. Just realizing that as a country, we are very racist, and we need to realize that white supremacy is out there. We can't deny that, and that white privilege is a thing, and that systemic racism is rampant. So this whole thing with cancel culture is a bunch of bullshit. When I first heard the term cancel culture, I thought it was referring to white supremacists. I thought it was saying that, white supremacists want to cancel out other cultures and try to make them, as Tucker Carlson says, like the Western culture. And it's the Western culture is a melting pot. We've always been a country of immigrants. We've always had all these different cultures come in. I mean, I live in a neighborhood that is it's Armenian and it is Salvadorian, and there's Asian people and there's white people, and it's just that's America to me. It's like
I live in Simi Valley, so it's just white
all
people.
white people. So that's America to me, is that it's all these different cultures learning to accept each other and get along. And so no one's superior over one another. This whole concept of like, oh, we gotta not talk about racism. We gotta not talk
Right.
about that this exists. And then having white people accuse other white people of being racist because they're saying things like, we need to recognize that Black Lives Matter. Like, oh, you're racist because you're calling out, that
Right.
black people are different from other people. Like, no, you have to realize that, like, there are people that feel that white people are better than other cultures, other races, and that's not okay. We got to figure out what we can do to stop this, and not only Asian people, but every culture that's out there. So that's a good start. How to fucking do that? I don't know.
Can I tell you my fantasy, or if I were a multi-billionaire?
Yeah, go for it,
that would
man.
help
Oh,
with some of
okay.
these.
Let's hear his fantasy.
This is my fantasy.
Sexy.
If I were a multi-billionaire, I would make a Godfather offer. I would buy Fox News.
Oh, that's
I
the
would bring-
culprit right there, man.
I would bring all of the current Fox News personalities into the same room, and I would say, you can all keep your job, and I will give you all a 7% raise if you report on the talking points that I give you. And Fox News would then become like a progressive left-wing channel voiced by Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, and all the rest.
And the really terrifying thing is they would all take that deal.
Yes.
They would all behave exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's about 30% of the country that would diametrically shift over and be like, well, because they're just drawn to the charisma of or lack thereof, but obviously from our point of view, but like they're drawn to the personas of Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham for whatever reason.
That's scary.
And they would just go, oh, she says this now. All right. Like whenever one of them, which I always think is, I mean, my wild tinfoil hat, whenever one of them like zags where everyone else is zigging on Fox News, it's always like a viral moment on Twitter where they're like, wow, Tucker Carlson said something that wasn't like in line with lockstep with the other hosts. And it always feels so deliberate to me that it's like a ploy to try to get new viewers or to give, like my aunt, I remember posted like a thing of that Tucker Carlson said, and then all the comments below were like, hey, this guy's got a really problematic past with his issues on race and other things like that. And she's like, yeah, but what he's saying here makes sense to me. So she still shared the video because the point that he was making made sense to her. And it was like, no, but you can't amplify his voice, because if someone goes to this YouTube link, the next 4 videos are going to be Tucker Carlson videos where he's like, we need to build a giant like biodome over the America so that no one can get in, and like
I just like that your fantasy had a specific pay raise percentage.
Yes.
7%.
7%.
I like
Yes.
specificity in fantasies.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
It would make the world a much more tolerant place.
Yeah. But I mean,
sure.
that's actually has been the playbook since basically the 90s of white supremacists. The plausible deniability, the kinder, softer, gentler Nazi, you know, and Tucker Carlson. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw John Oliver, but Dave was totally distracting me with his butt up in the air. But anyway.
My beer exploded all over the place. I gotta fucking clean it up
face
right
down,
now.
ass up, Dave. Is my
Yeah.
favorite thing.
7% of his ass,
Yes.
huh? Yeah, but that's kind of been that's get them with the gentler, kinder. We're not saying black people, or we're not saying Jews, or we're not saying Asians.
Right.
Except we are,
Right.
but and John Oliver just did this whole thing on Tucker Carlson, which I would love to I've never punched anyone in the face, but I would make a huge exception for him.
Yes.
But he did a whole thing about Tucker Carlson and how white supremacists just totally bro out with him.
Well, what I was thinking was like, does Fox News create these newscasters to be white supremacists, or these freaking racist assholes, or are they already racist assholes, and then Fox News just brings them in?
I think
I
there
think
are-
it's
Yeah.
a dragon eating its own tail.
There you go. It's a
Yeah.
symbiotic relationship
Yeah.
there.
I
They
do
feed
think
on
it
each
gets
other.
heightened because they're on Fox News, though, because it
Yeah.
sells. Because Tucker Carlson was always an asshole,
Mhm.
but he wasn't like a full-on vocal white supremacist when he was
Right.
on CNN like he is now.
Mhm.
It sells. He makes a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess it's almost kind of a get out of jail card for them when like people at large are like, well, they're just personas. It's a persona for Alex Jones, and it's a persona for Tucker Carlson, and it's a persona for Hannity. They're not really like that. It's a performance, and that's what their lawyers always argue. Like whenever they get sued for things, they're like, well, they're not actual journalists. They're performing. It's news entertainment.
And that's what I say
there's
on this show. Like this is just a persona in case anybody,
Right.
in case I get too drunk and I say something really stupid.
Absolutely.
Then people are like, "Whoa, look at that!" I was like, "It was just acting. I'm just an
Yeah.
actor
No, this
on a
is me.
show."
I want
Yeah.
to make it clear. This is me.
These are my actual beliefs.
Yes.
Yes, these are my beliefs.
It's
Well,
like,
it's like the book Mother Night. I don't know if you guys ever read it, but basically the premise is that it doesn't matter. You are who you pretend to be.
Right.
You
Exactly.
are
Sure.
what. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because my husband says this all the time. He's like, "Well, is it just a performance?" I go, "It doesn't matter.
Right.
It does not matter because people believe it."
I agree with you. I think that's absolutely
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
it's a slice of you, you know? It's just like, this is me in this type of world. And then, like, I mean, we do other shows on this comedy network, and I play a different type of person. And guess what? That is also part of me, just like me, political me. But if I'm out in the real world, I'm not just talking politics all the time and drinking beer. I'm just drinking beer.
It totally is a sexy part of you, that part of you in that other show.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of sexiness, we're gonna move on to our next topic.
All
Which is
right.
very sexy.
Oh, I gotta hit the sound here. We gotta start drinking.
Earlier this week, in a fiery, totally uncharismatic speech on the Senate floor, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell ranted that if Democrats were to change the rules of the filibuster to prevent him from blocking Joe Biden's agenda, then he would somehow grind the Senate to a halt to block Joe Biden's agenda. This came on the heels of Joe Manchin's remarks on Fox News that he would be open to a talking filibuster, and came a day before President Biden reportedly also voiced his support for the possibility of a talking filibuster in a yet unaired television interview. It should be noted that within weeks of Trump becoming president in 2017, McConnell changed the filibuster rules himself so that Neil Gorsuch could be confirmed as a Supreme Court judge without 60 votes.
Right.
Tommy,
Yes.
when do you think we should send Mitch his gift basket to apologize for even thinking about changing the rules?
Well, I mean, I'm already working on it. I've been texting him nonstop, just making sure he's okay. I Grubhubbed him some ramen immediately. And I said, buddy, we're going to get through this together. I realize you feel betrayed and hurt that people would weaponize the same tactics that you've used in the past. I mean, it's just more maddening. I mean, it's all theater, not to quote Dr. Rand Paul today, but it's a different kind of theater, that prick. But like, it is just like, it's all theatrics. It's like the tantruming of a child that knows that they've lost all of their, like, they're out of options in terms of reasoning with their parents. Like PlayStation's been taken away, everything's been taken away, and now they have to just resort to all-out threats. I'm running away. I'm never talking to you again. Like, this is like a 78-year-old man's last temper tantrum, because behind the scenes, he's already trying to change Kentucky legislation so that he can name his successor rather than the governor. Because the governor, if I'm not mistaken, of Kentucky is a Democrat. So if Mitch retired or stepped down early, so Mitch is like working behind the scenes to change that rule so that when he steps down, he'll name, or at least the GOP will name his successor. So he's not even really that, I don't think, that focused on what's going on in the real world today. He's just trying to like figure out a way not to lose whatever his crazy legacy that he thinks he has is. So this is just, to me, more desperation. I know I didn't answer your question, but he just makes me so furious because it's always these like grave threats that he makes. And then he just goes and does the shitty thing anyway. So it's like, I don't know. Do you like, at what point do you just take him for what he says and just know he's going to be a shithead?
Right.
Now.
No.
Yes.
I feel that like, just fuck it. Just don't listen to him anymore. Like he's not the majority leader anymore. If we get rid of the filibuster, he's fucking powerless. Like he can't say anything. Like
for 2 years though, and that's what his threat is, and that's what scares me is like the worst nightmare. If you could say like a worst case scenario for Trump when he was president, it would be like, well, if he got to name 3 Supreme Court justices, that would be pretty fucking awful. And then it happened. Like there is a part of me that is like, you know, a dog that's just been slapped over and over again, and I'm like, he will do this. He's for sure going to do this. So like, if they take back power in 2 years, we're all going to be like, you know, and I mean, that's the threat that he wants us to do, but I'm not an elected official. So me panicking about him, you know, doing, like I said, but I think he'll do it anyway.
But that's the thing is
they don't do it now. He's just going to do it in 2 years.
If you get rid of, you know, if you get rid of the filibuster, you pass HR1, then the Republicans will not hold as much power. It's just there's no fucking way. Like
it'd be hard for them to win the House.
What was that?
It'd be hard for them to win the House. They'd still have a good shot in the Senate, but it'd be hard for them to win the House.
I just feel that no matter how much of a minority there is with the, like, let's say there's, you know, like 56 Republicans and 44 Democrats, those Democrats will still represent a majority of the American people. And so like, just because the people in these Democratic states represent there's so many more people, and it's ridiculous. Mark was saying last time it was like 40 million people, 46 million people, something like that, Mark, like right now.
Yeah, around there.
It was me.
It was,
okay?
oh, sorry, Christine.
And that is so sexist.
Oh,
come on.
We do so many of these goddamn shows, it just all just like blends together. I can't remember who's on what, but
oh man, do you guys think we'll ever do this in person again?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I was starting to think about the whole theater situation. Like, if
we have nothing to go back to, really.
Exactly, everything's shut down, and it's just like we would have to start trying to find a goddamn theater to start.
I mean, we're gonna have to do that eventually, but hopefully, I hope that's a problem we have.
The buildings will still be there, right?
Yeah, that's true. We might be in a position to really become the theater owners we always threatened to be.
Exactly. Well, the thing is like this gets, even though it doesn't get a whole lot of viewers, it's still more people than what would be in our show. So it's it's pretty sad.
So true.
We're gonna do it different this time, guys. I've got big plans. Don't worry.
Yeah. Because as much as people loved watching and coming to improv shows, people love watching live podcasts even more.
I'm hoping that when theaters do open back up, I mean, really, what's going to be left? For UCB Franklin, Second City, and West Side, right? Basically,
I think Groundlings is still open.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But like, is Acme even still?
No, they're completely gone. Everything's gone at Acme.
Wow.
There's, and of course, there's just like nothing left. It's
crazy.
Right.
Well, the pack is there, so but that's just a complex.
But that space that's in flux too. The complex is in
trouble. That's in flux. Yeah.
Not to change it, not to hijack the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, because all these people watching, like, I want to know what
they're like. What are the intricacies of the LA theater scene?
Yeah. Well, in case you're listening and you're in like England or something like that, all theaters are pretty much just gone right now, and it kind of
hopefully some will open up in their space or in their place, and
hopefully.
But let's see, get back on topic here.
Back to that point. I think I'm not as scared about his threats about what they would do if they had the majority, because for a lot of things that he threatened, Republicans in the Senate are often not on the same page when it comes to social issues. Like, would they criminalize abortion in all cases? I don't think they could get the votes for that. Defunding Planned Parenthood, that would be really unpopular. I don't know if they would want to do that. Right to work in all 50 states, maybe, maybe, but I don't know. I think that if they really wanted to do that, they would just do it anyway because that's
Right.
what they do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
do you think that shit, I had something brilliant and then I just lost it because of alcohol.
I'm gonna believe you.
Yes,
I
yes.
choose to believe
And
you.
this is just a character that I play, everybody. This is actually just sparkling
Yes.
water in here. Sorry, what were you saying? Go back again there, Mark. What were you saying?
Well, like gay marriage as well. Like a lot of social issues, Republicans aren't all on the same page, or they aren't as motivated. So,
Yeah.
like, would they vote to criminalize gay marriage across all 50 states? I doubt they could do that.
Right.
Most of the things he's threatening, I doubt that they would have the votes to do anyway.
Well, I was thinking was that like, what can he do? Like, he's threatening scorched earth, but like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like
Anything that he could do, the majority can change the rules around parliamentary procedure. He can't do anything.
Exactly.
And he knows that.
He
should just be an asshole.
Like, do you think that the whole talk filibuster, is that worth it, or should we just completely just get rid of the filibuster? I mean, it's like I guess it's like a step between, like, to say that, oh, let's get back to what the filibuster was, where you just have to sit there and talk for however long before you have to, I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, if the rule was that one person had to do it, and it was one person and they had to keep talking, which is what it used to be, I'd be down. Let some asshole talk for 30 hours straight if he feels that strongly about a bill until he collapses. Do it.
But what are the rules to the talk filibuster? Do you have to go for a certain amount of time? Is it like...
The rule used to be it was one dude. He could do it as long as
lady.
I don't think a woman has ever done a talking filibuster.
That's because we know, how to get things done without,
what
crying about it or reading Green Eggs and Ham. But anyway,
there was the one case in it was like the Texas state senate or Oklahoma state senate, or some lady talked for a good 20 hours or something like that. Is that
ladies can't stop talking? Am I
was
right?
gonna say, I think that's my mother-in-law. Hey!
Get him some white wine and you'll be here till next week.
Oh God, awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Jokes.
Oh man.
But do you think that would anybody actually be able to accomplish it? And like, is it 30 hours or 20 hours? What are the
You can go as long as you want. You could literally stand there.
Now they have votes to stop it, but it's more than just a majority vote to stop the filibuster. And I can't remember if it's 2/3
You gotta have
or whatever.
41.
40. Okay. Yeah. So I mean,
Wait,
it is.
No, you need 60 to stop it.
Yeah,
you
it's
need
a
41
2/3.
to keep it going.
Yeah. So it's a whole rigmarole. But sure. I mean, I would take that over just I'm filibustering. Like, to me, that's ridiculous. At least make them feel pain to do it.
But there's different things that they could do. They could do a talking filibuster where they could just tag team each other. You could do one where the 41 who objected to it had to stay in the chamber. There's different rules that you could change. Yeah.
Are there pee breaks allowed?
Oh.
I think if you're standing there talking, I don't think it's allowed. Because I know during the civil rights legislation, Strom Thurmond was like peeing in a pot or something.
Oh, that is so
urinating
Strom Thurmond. Can you imagine?
They probably were like, dude, you can go to the bathroom. And he's like, no. I've always wanted to do this.
I just want to piss in a pot, please.
Yeah, behold my wrinkly wiener.
Did you say the wriggly wiener or wrinkly wiener?
Wrinkly.
Oh,
Come on,
okay.
I'm not disgusting.
Well,
Dave.
come on. I just thought that
wriggly
maybe
wiener.
you're making a reference to the hot dogs at Wrigley Field. So
Come on, man.
I don't know.
All right. After that Wrigleyville reference, let's move on to our last segment.
Okay. Here comes the music.
I should name this the Amy Klobuchar segment because when we first started doing this, every time Mike was like, Amy Klobuchar should fuck off. Anyway, this is a segment where we go on rants about who should fuck off. Tommy, we'll start with you.
Who should fuck off? Steven Crowder should fuck off for sure, forever. And who else?
Wait, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Oh, sure, yeah. No, just he knows what he did. No, Steven Crowder, joining the legions of conservative quote comedians and commentators that like when something tragic happens on a national level, like 8 people being murdered, for what's clearly a racial bias, he'll be like, we must end racism, and he'll put out a really disingenuous tweet, and then it's like it's all fake and performative. You can look up millions of instances of him being racist against Asians, and they're all over his YouTube channel. And people like him who clearly just desperately want to make it in the entertainment industry and have not thus far, and are now clinging onto these fringe niche like audiences and fan bases, they can fuck off.
There you go.
Ben Shapiro, you as well.
Yes.
You get lumped in there, buddy.
If he had sold one script, he wouldn't exist as the Ben Shapiro we know. If he could have just sold a script, he would just be a writer somewhere. Like maybe he would release like a politically biased novel at some point, but like there would be no podcast or radio show and ridiculous editorials that he writes. So anyway,
he is a shifty, fast-talking motherfucker. Christine, who should fuck off?
I didn't even think about this. And since we've been talking about Tucker Carlson, let's just say Tucker Carlson, because I hate him so much.
Yeah.
You know, my theory about him is that he sort of that bow tie because he's really into autoerotic asphyxiation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is, and then like it
Joker
became too
Carlson.
obvious. Yeah.
Choker Carlson.
Also, his dad, I watched the Lady in the Dale documentary on HBO. His dad was this Los Angeles newscaster, and his dad was really into exposing transgender people, and like he was super transphobic, and it was like this really weird, creepy, like fixation. And then at the end of the Lady in the Dale, spoiler alert, they tell you, oh wait, by the way, this is Tucker Carlson's dad. And my husband and I were both like, it all makes sense. So
Wow.
him and his dad,
Creeps.
Sucks.
all of them creepy creeps. And by the way, he's Gen X, so he should be a little bit cooler, and instead he's so boomer.
No. Yeah, also, that bow tie is so small. It makes his head, which is already humongous, look like 20 times bigger. It's just like, who the fuck decided to dress this guy? I don't know. But I can't watch more than 3 minutes of that guy without just wanting to get up and punch my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He absolutely sucks. No way to sugarcoat it.
The whole idea of having someone just spout out such racist fucking bigotry and just false narratives, just it really sets the tone for white nationalists.
For money.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's awful.
I mean, like high capitalism, this is what we're rewarding.
Yeah, it sucks. It really does. So,
Hooray!
All right. Dave, who do you think should fuck off?
Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin.
Yes.
God damn it, dude. So I want to say some quotes here. So, he was frightened by the rioters on January 6th because they were people that love this country and truly respect law enforcement, but they would never do anything to break the law. But in contrast, he would be worried if the rioters were Black Lives Matters and Antifa protesters. So this asshole, what a fucking dick, man. This guy needs to totally fuck off. Like,
fuck right off.
Fuck right the fuck off. So
you don't deserve cheese.
God damn it, man. It really pisses me off. Like that, this guy was in the Capitol. He could have fucking got killed by them, but he's like, he wasn't scared of them because he thought that they were like, these are insurrectionists. These are not protesters. These are people that are trying to overthrow the U.S. government by force. This is not part of our Constitution, our democracy. This is not how our law works. But they're like, oh, they like law enforcement, even though they fucking killed a police officer and then forced, two other police officers to, die of injuries or commit suicide. But this blows my fucking mind that people are
look, they were white.
Yeah, exactly. They're white people,
right.
And they're white supremacists like Ron Johnson, and so they just he felt at home with them, that he wouldn't try to. I don't know. These insurrectionists have to be punished. Like, there has to be some type of accountability. I talk about this every fucking time we are on this show, but there has to be some type of accountability with these people to, they can't just let this just bury it under the rug. It has to be dealt with, and I hopefully.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I prefer John Ronson
than Ron Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Johnson and Johnson. Yeah. Or Johnson Family Company.
No, stop.
No? All right.
That's enough
out
of you, mister.
Well, mine tonight goes to Senator Mike Lee of Utah, who said that H.R. 1 was a bill written in hell.
Oh, yes.
You can lump Lindsey Graham in there as well, who said some similar things. But what I really wish that reporters would ask people who say things like that is, why do you want the congressional districts to be gerrymandered? Why are you against having an independent commission make those lines? Why don't you want everyone to be able to vote by mail? Why don't you want black and brown people to be able to vote?
Right.
America was founded on democracy, and if you were against people democratically electing their leaders, then you hate America.
Yeah, it's literally the one thing that defines us. That basically, America, this whole this idea of the Constitution and electing our officials, like, this was new to America when we wrote the Constitution. Like, we're like the founders of this idea, and so to take that away, like, it's fucking fascist. Like, it's because these Republicans know that they're not going to win because they are the minority. There's like, what, 1 in 6 Americans who are eligible to vote is a Republican, and if they get their voice silenced, if everybody can vote, then they're not going to win anything, and they know that. And who was it, the guy that actually admitted that? Like, if this
the dude in Arizona, I can't remember, but
HR 1 passes,
Donald Trump as well.
Yeah, Republicans ever going to get reelected, because they know that when voter turnout is high, Democrats win, and it's like, anything that makes it easier for Democrats to vote, it means that no Republican's ever going to be in power, and so that's what they're scared of, and so they're just trying to say things like voter fraud, like voter fraud's the cause of all this. My second fuck off, and I don't want to go into a whole fucking rabbit hole down this, is Vladimir Putin. That guy can fuck off, because what he did, like, all these conspiracy theories that are going on around there, I can guarantee you they're Russian trolls, and so this whole investigation with that the FBI did into the Russian interference with this last election, it wasn't so much that the Russians actually got into our voting machines and made stuff. They just perpetuated the idea that the vote was going to be stolen. They perpetuated the idea that voting by mail was going to be fraudulent. All this stuff. Do you really think that these fucking QAnon Republican whack jobs can actually think of that? They can't. They're stupid. They're fucking idiots. And so how the hell can they actually fucking think of all this shit? And so the Russians, they went out there and they fucking planted the seeds, and then they watched it spread to all this mass hysteria. And all they did is just kept on snowballing it. They fucking waved the fire with more oxygen and made it burn. And so that basically what we have right now is just a product of fucking Putin in Russia. Like all this shit that's going on with all these Republican conspiracy theories and whatnot. So
It's like they brought that's like they can give us something as beautiful as Yakov Smirnoff, and then this. It's like I don't know, I don't know which Russia to love.
yeah, yeah.
I also want to say fuck off to the Joe Biden dementia people. I just want to remind you, this is a quote from one of our former presidents. This is one of the wettest hurricanes we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Whose boat?
Those were the
is
type
that Bush?
Boat.
That was Trump.
That was Trump.
And it wasn't
that was Trump, 'cause
extemporaneous either. It was a filmed White House video where he said that and then they put it out there. I kind of just wanted to read that quote.
I would just like to know what didn't they put out?
Yeah.
What didn't make the final
what
cut?
did they edit
If that
out?
did.
I'm sure he at one point lobbied to be like, I want to say fuck in one of these videos. I want you to let me say fuck in one of them. And they're like, we can't. Are you kidding me? It's unprecedented. And he would,
He's like, I'm unprecedented.
Well, who's the last president we have recorded saying fuck? Nixon, right?
Did he say fuck?
Yeah, well, in his tapes.
Probably in the
his
tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I miss him.
I mean, if Beto O'Rourke gets elected someday, you can expect a lot of fucks.
Yeah, he's gonna rip that.
Yeah.
He's got to say
Band-Aid quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll call it there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dave, Christine, Tommy. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
Please come on again soon, guys.
All right.
Anytime.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Nice to see you.
Good night.
Tommy, it was good seeing you again, man.
Good seeing you guys. Take care.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.